Attention, listener, I have an assignment for you. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to engage with the Real Nerds, aka the best podcast on the internet. You can listen to their episodes on their website, realnerdspodcast.com. And you can also listen to them on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and iTunes. Follow their social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This message will self-destruct never.
This is Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of whatever pop culture event is happening in Colorado. I am Ryan. With me is Brad.
What's up?
And Zach.
Hey.
And every week on Real Nerds Podcast for 10 years, we have gone to the movies and podcasted our experience to the world. This week, our featured film is A Quiet Place Part 2. Stay tuned to the end of the episode where we will recommend this film or not, play the trailer, and then spoil it. We're also going to talk about movie news, movies that are coming out on Blu-ray you can purchase, stuff we've been watching, a general merriment of movie extravaganza.
Yeah.
And the great tradition of other podcasts.
This is not an epic novel being translated to the screen, Ryan.
In the great tradition of other podcasts, we're the ones who set the standard. We were here first.
We I really think we have. No one can touch us as far as
Longevity.
What we do. Yeah, what we do.
Not necessarily quality, but longevity for sure.
Yeah.
No one can touch us in terms of refusing to give up.
Yeah.
Persistence.
Yeah.
Hey, I've heard that's key.
So yes, hopefully you've started listening to our Film Explosion episode from 1991. We had a special guest on, and also start preparing those lists for 2001 because it might come sooner than we anticipated due to our 500 Ganza.
Yeah, that's right. 500 episodes. My God.
Well,
and
100 best ones of the 500.
Yeah. Okay. I was actually thinking about this, gentlemen.
You're thinking?
Yeah, I know.
That's a dangerous thing to do.
I know this is might throw a little wrench, but I also think this might be a lot of fun. Because if we debate on which movie should go where, I think it's going to be like an 18-hour long podcast. However, I was thinking that if you all send me your list, I'm going to assign a point value to how the movies are ranked, and then I'm going to unveil each movie based on where we put them in the rankings on points. And then that way we can call people an idiot and the podcast will only be like 3 hours opposed to.
I mean, that could be a neat idea, and it would save 18 hours of recording time. I don't know, Brad, you're the tech master. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, originally the plan was to make like 10 bonus episodes, but now I guess we're just going to do like one episode. So.
Oh, I see. So you guys discussed this over the week without me, and then I just
No.
I mean, we're within our rights to do that. So.
Oh yeah, I know. This is your guys' show. I'm just an interloper who kind of.
I mean, I was just thinking how it would be a little more fun that no one else knew, and then we can yell at people and call them idiots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who would not know? Because the three of us are here right now.
No, but we wouldn't know each other. Like, we wouldn't know what our rankings were. Similar to how you know everybody's Film Explosion lists, but you don't reveal anything or kick a fit when I put Saving Private Ryan at number 5.
So basically what would happen is whatever film you ranked 100 would get 1 point. And then it would go up to your film you ranked number 1 is 100.
Yeah.
So based on a point system, I would take that and rank them all. And then I would do the point system to do the 100 best films as voted by the real nerds, which is kind of like what the Academy Awards do.
And it's kind of like what Corinne does with our film explosions on the articles that she does at the end of each year-end film explosion.
Yeah, and the only reason is I'm just trying to think of a concise show. I don't mind the bonus episodes, but then it'll just be arguments constant. I don't know. Just something I was thinking of. And it's a way to get everybody involved because just thinking to myself over these last couple of weeks, getting James and Henry and stuff might be a little more tricky.
Right. And also, if we were in each other's presence for 18 hours, it might be like 12 Angry Men where we walk out very embittered, but we do reach a verdict at some point. Mm-hmm. And I just don't, no offense to you guys, but I don't feel like recreating Sidney Lumet movies in my house. So not this, not Dog Day Afternoon, nothing.
Well, we can figure it out off show. Cause like, I'm starting to think, my list right now was fluid. I didn't like a 51 and a 52, there isn't a difference. They're just there. But now if we're going to start ranking them like that, it's like, oh, I guess I do need to like think about where I want certain numbers to like concretely be.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it was like, well, these are kind of like 90 through 100, 80 through 90 if we were just going to discuss them. So yeah, we'll figure it out after the show. We're going to have to like take up this episode figuring it out.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be right away. It's just something I came up with.
Yeah. That
I was thinking of just to make a tighter show.
You were doing your Winnie the Pooh there. You were thinking.
That's right. Corinne, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm eating some ice cream.
What kind of ice cream?
It's just like a little ice cream cone.
That's pretty vague. Kind of flavor? What?
It's like vanilla coated with cookies and cream or something.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to get inquisitive about ice cream.
None of your business flavored?
Yeah, yes.
It's just one of those like prepackaged cones you get at the store.
Oh, right on. Killer. Right on. Well, we were discussing alternative solutions to the 500 episode.
I don't have any input there, so
no.
Do what you're gonna do.
Yep. You guys make this all up.
No, I mean, anyway. Pretty much we do what Ryan wants to do. My show, my rules. Booyah.
That's true. Well, except that one time we watched Mank. I kind of coerced you into that. So.
We didn't have a lot of options that week. It's okay.
How do we know Ryan's going to score the movies fairly? If he has all the data.
So I'm like, wow, number one is fucking Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, followed by Homecoming, and then No Way. Far From Home. Really?
I would be fine with Spider-Verse being at number one.
Ryan, Amazing Spider-Man 2 can't be the number one list for the entire nerds.
That's so weird that almost everybody put it on here.
It was on everyone's list. I don't know what to tell you.
No, that's one movie that I'm pretty sure that even if I rank it somewhere in like the 40s or something, it might not make the top 100.
They'll leave Your Darkness up here just to pretend that we that you did the math right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No shenanigans going on.
The only reason I'll move on really quickly, but the only reason I was thinking of this too is I was talking to James's mother, and she had a hard time understanding the concept of James's family. I'm sorry, James's family had a hard time understanding the concept of what we were trying to do. So I'm trying to think of something a little more easy and concise. But anyways, that's a topic for another show. Brad, it is actually real movie season again, which means you can go around town with Brad. Yahoo!
Hey, film buddies, follow me around Denver.
Yeah, that's right. Most theaters are open, which means at the drive-in, the Holiday Twin has 2 screens, and on one of them they're showing Cruella and Raya, The Last Dragon is a double feature, and the second screen has Quiet Place Part 2 and World War Z.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, I might go to that. That's awesome.
The 88 Drive-In has Sonic the Hedgehog, Quiet Place 2, and World War Z.
Nice. Warner Brothers getting in on that double dip.
So yeah, that's what's going on around town.
Nice. I also want to point out that the Denver West Regal is open. It hasn't been open for over a year. So
In the West?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those Colorado Mills.
Yeah, Colorado Mills opened previously, then closed again, and then just opened like 2 weeks ago. But the Denver West is open, like legit open. So
nice.
That's good.
As is the Greenwood Village Cinnabar, which has been closed since the pandemic began. So
Yep. And the Westminster Alamo opens next week, if I remember correctly.
Oh, snap. I want to look at that Metropolis statue again.
And I was talking to somebody I can't remember who I was talking to. Maybe it was James's mom. She said that the Aspen Grove is targeting July to open too. So
finally.
I'm guessing Black Widow. And I was talking to her, and I think it'd be fun if we all went back there to see Black Widow.
That's my Alamo.
I think that absolutely needs to happen. In fact, it's
my birthday, so we're going to do what I want to do. So.
Well, what do you want to do on your birthday, Brad?
See Black Widow at the Alamo, duh.
Well, good news, sweet spirit.
I was thinking we should
Brad,
record.
Your tickets on me.
Awesome.
I was thinking we should try to record somewhat within the vicinity of the Alamo itself to celebrate that, but it would be pretty tricky doing a mobile, but that'd be a cool
we can do
idea.
It. We'll figure it out.
The glass F holes open or not.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm guessing what if the season pass opens up? Ryan, you still want to give me that free ticket?
Oh, fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, I got to use my Regal Unlimited subscription for the first time since last fall.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Huh? Mm-hmm.
It's really weird when you're out and about around town. I am fully vaccinated, so masks are optional. And I was at Sam's Club today, and they set up the table for their what do you call it there? Their food court? I don't know what you call it. But the tables haven't been set up there for over a year too. So now you can sit down and eat pizza again at Sam's Club.
Nice.
It's the little things in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, our store started putting out the outdoor dining patio umbrellas and such and whatnot. So we're getting back into that mode. So, yep, things are moving back.
I think that only leaves the Elvis cinemas have not reopened and the Chez Artiste in Denver. Yep. So
hopefully those are soon. But it is really cool. You don't realize how much you miss things until you haven't had them for a while, and they're given back to you.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah. Last night, the Avalanche were playing, and I went to this place in Lakewood called West Rail Grill, and it was packed with like Avalanche fans, and it was just, and Ball Arena downtown has 11,000 people in it now, and it's just kind of cool having that atmosphere again. And hey, guys, we got vaccinated. There's a chance we could win $1 million through the state. So we need another reason to get vaccinated.
I gotta say, it is really weird to go places without a mask now. I feel like I'm walking in like naked or something.
Yeah, it is strange. That's what happens with a year of wearing it will do to you. But I'm still wearing mine because I'm just like, what, better safe than sorry. Plus, I work in an environment where I would rather take that precaution than ignore it. So,
yeah, people are gross.
Yes, they are. They are disgusting, Brad. I've noticed that where I work. They are the absolute worst human beings on the planet. So,
well, Zach's getting a call from his supervisor tomorrow.
Yes, I work at Bleep.
This is movie news.
It's real news.
All right, Ryan, you need to start explaining some things to me. So,
well, Zach, when a man and a woman love each other very much.
They have they get married, right?
Brad, get me Dr. Spock's book.
You want the outdated one? Okay.
That's a Dick Van Dyke joke.
I was gonna say, just grab it off the back of the shelf behind their beds.
That's right. The reason why I need you to explain some stuff to me is so Aaron Taylor Johnson has been cast in Kraven the Hunter for Sony's upcoming Spider-Man villain universe movie. Now, you've talked about Kraven the Hunter before, and you've had ideas of what to do with Kraven the Hunter before. Can you give the audience a little bit of insight into Kraven the Hunter?
Kraven the Hunter is a Russian aristocrat who traveled to Africa to hunt the ultimate big game. While he was there, he took some sort of herb that gave him heightened strength and senses. And after he got done hunting the animals in Africa, he thought hunting Spider-Man would be the ultimate game. You know, that old novel, The Ultimate, or was it called The
Most Dangerous Game?
Most Dangerous Game, thank you. And so he uses his heightened hunting ability to hunt the ultimate prey, which is Spider-Man.
Says in this article that I'm reading that he first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 15 back in 1964.
Yep. The issue after the Green Goblin.
Oh. So it was a dip.
Or does he use his abilities to hunt Thanos?
Yeah. Well, he's not like that super strong though. Like he has heightened strength, but I don't even think he's as strong as Spider-Man.
This article says he uses primarily guns. So
yeah.
Okay.
I mean those 3 issues in a row. 13 was Mysterio, 14 was Green Goblin, 15 was Kraven. So they're on a roll there for what, like the first 20 issues of Spider-Man have all his greatest villains, but
yeah.
I mean he's an okay villain. He was never really that cool until Kraven's Last Hunt, and that kind of gave him a mystique because it's regarded as one of the greatest Spider-Man stories ever.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, he tried to prove that he was superior to Spider-Man, and buried Spider-Man alive and dressed up as Spider-Man and hunted down this villain called Vermin. And when he was done with that, oh, sorry, that was Mickey. And I don't know if everybody else heard my watch just tell me what time it was.
I thought it was your wife asking about a towel.
And when he was done proving his point to Spider-Man, Spider-Man showed up and started beating him up, and Kraven didn't fight back. And he's like, I don't have anything to prove to you. And then he kills himself at the end. So, I mean,
yikes.
Yeah, it's a pretty dark story.
That's intense. I wonder if director J.C. Chandor, who is best known for A Most Violent Year and Margin Call, who will be directing this film, will be able to go into some kind of territory like that. But yeah, it seems like this is falling in line with the Morbius and Venom thing. Yeah, I
think it'd be interesting if he hunted Vermin. I think Vermin's a really interesting villain. He's he was created by Baron Zemo, and he's half rat, half human. And
like Rat Boy on The Simpsons?
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite Spider-Man stories is The Child Within, and the reason Vermin is so vicious is because it's a really dark story, but he was sexually assaulted. So he can't, he can't reconcile his abuse with being this creature. So they're like one in the same. It's pretty deep. Great stuff. But yeah, I mean, I guess it could work. I don't know. Kraven the Hunter is really not that cool of a villain.
I think you just described why Vermin won't be in the Disney universe, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm willing to give another shot to the Sony workaround with the villain universe with Venom 2 and Morbius. So this could be interesting. We'll see what happens.
It might work. I mean, his story is interesting enough where you don't need Spider-Man. So we'll see.
Yeah. I've got some news for all you Jackass fans. I regret to announce the obvious that Jackass 4 will be Johnny Knoxville's final Jackass movie.
Isn't he like 50 now?
Yeah. In other news, duh. He in a quote during an interview he recently did with GQ He said, "You can only take so many chances before something irreversible happens. I feel like I've been extremely lucky to take the chances I've taken and still be walking around."
Yeah, like getting in a car with your friend who drives really fast.
Wow.
No, Steve was into that one, but I get it.
Yeah. that was mean. It's time for them to stop the stunt show. I there's a certain point where those bones just never recover.
I don't know. I mean, I saw a flying dildo in 3D and Jackass 3D, so.
But here's another thing I want to bring up on that.
I'm pretty sure is that
Ryan?
Brad's favorite movie from that year? I can't remember.
2010?
Fourth favorite, thank you.
I will say, when you've had the glory of Jackass 3D, I think a fourth one will only serve as just a nostalgia trip and not the epic conclusion to a trilogy. Because Jackass 3D was the movie we all needed at that time in 2010. But yeah, I mean, the last time we saw him was in Action Point, where he's still doing some stunts and whatnot. So I think this is definitely going to have to be his last rodeo if he wants to stay alive to see 70. So, there's some news for Brad too. Your new Wes Anderson will be coming out this October after it plays Cannes and New York Film Festival. The French Dispatch is finally getting its release, courtesy of Searchlight Pictures.
I was going to say, is your news that Jackass 4, French Dispatch, and The Last Night in Soho are all on the same weekend?
Oh, shit. Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That was leading into that.
Maybe that's why Morbius isn't coming out in October anymore.
Yeah, when you've got heavy hitters like that, I mean, there's nothing else to do.
And Zach has Cry Macho that weekend, too, so...
I'll go. I need to rewrite a lot of that article series or update it with you know what? My thoughts have changed on these. So, but Cry Macho, sure. We'll see what happens with that. Speaking of Last Night in Soho, we got a trailer for Last Night in Soho, for Edgar Wright's new psychological thriller, ghost story kind of horror, but it looks fun, guys. It looks fun. I'm excited.
That's a great trailer.
I know. It's fucking dope. He nails the 60s look and looks creepy.
What I love about Edgar Wright is nothing is on accident with him.
Mm-hmm.
All his stuff is very deliberate.
Yep. We're going to be in for some kind of interesting wild ride. And it features, amongst other things, the final performances of many legendary British actors who left our graces the last year and a half. So there'll be your chance to see people, amongst others, Diana Rigg and whatnot. So, and let's see. Brad, are you the only one of us who's seen anything related to the Garbage Pail Kids, or Ryan, have you seen any of it?
The Garbage Pail Kid, like the old movie?
The movie or the cards, whatever they are.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen the movie. The movie is literal garbage.
Okay. Well, do you want an animated series from David Gordon Green?
I think it translates better than a movie where a bunch of little people are running around in costumes. Yeah.
Well, definitely, especially today. But good news, you're getting that from HBO Max. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Danny McBride and David Gordon Green are going to be working on a updated version of the Garbage Pail Kids for HBO Max as an animated series. They will be joined by Josh Bicel from the Hulu show Solar Opposites to write and co-create the series. I am heretofore unfamiliar with them apart from the cards themselves and seeing them scattered about pop culture related minutia. So I am curious to see what this is, but yeah, right on. Cool for them. And then we are getting a Black Panther spinoff for Okoye. So yeah, I'm curious, guys, how many of these shows are we getting now at this point that I have to keep up with eventually?
I don't know. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm keeping up with it.
I'm excited that we're going to get a Black Panther spinoff. So that'll be fun. And then let's see. I guess I can just jump into the last two big pieces of news, guys. First of all, we'll start off with the second to most distressing news, which is that Amazon has bought MGM. for $8.45 billion. And amongst other things that will be going over to Amazon will be James Bond, The Hobbit, Rocky and Creed, RoboCop, The Pink Panther, Stargate, The Silence of the Lambs, Stargate, Fargo, Vikings, Handmaid's Tale, etc., etc. So yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about this with the whole Discovery Warner Brothers merger and whatnot, but how's everybody feeling about this? We feeling meh or whatever?
I'd say on to those Blu-rays.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen eventually. And, I shared an article about, physical media and things like that and how streaming is just ruining the experience of movies, which this article is really great. But yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. I guess the only good news that came out of it is the producers of James Bond own the rights for distribution, and they said that it's always going to be in theaters. So I guess there's that.
Yeah. Well, I think Amazon would be rather silly to try and keep James Bond out of theaters, period.
Well, Amazon has released films in theaters too. I think,
in fact, they're better at it than Netflix is, hands down. Everybody's getting up in arms about it. I'm like, guys, they're probably going to keep putting their stuff out in theaters.
Well, I think the blockbusters will go out to theaters, but they might relegate the low budget, mid-range budget stuff to streaming only, which is sad.
Yeah.
Or art houses only.
It's hard to, I mean, the only thing with this stuff, it's hard to quantify how much money they make from streaming. I mean, how many people say, I got Netflix for Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. You know what I mean? And how much does that, they're just counting on, people just being subscribed. So they're constantly getting an influx of money. I've never, I don't know if you guys are the same way. I've never kept a streaming service because something is coming out for it. I just keep it because that's where most of the creative stuff goes now.
Yeah. My fear above all fears is that with anything, because we're merging two different big corporations, it means that the library, the whatever archive library they have, which MGM frankly doesn't have as many titles as I am concerned about in the grand scheme of Golden Age Hollywood. But in terms of the library that they do have, it's still stuff that I still want to see get physical media releases. And they technically still have a stake in the Night of the Hunter, the Charles Laughton film, because that's one of the few early United Artists acquisitions that they still hold on to.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is stuff like that. I mean, there's a criterion for Night of the Hunter. But
right, and it's still being made available. So
yeah, I'm guessing stuff like that they'll probably license out. I mean, Shout Factory has so many MGM product. I mean, and so does Scream. So I'm guessing there'll be a lot of licensed out stuff.
Oh yeah, Scream has a ton of MGM stuff.
Would they license it though? Because Amazon's incentive is they want you to stick to Prime streaming. So having their Blu-rays out there doesn't make
that's
a lot of sense for them.
I mean, I would always push back. The only reason I push back on that is Disney has all their stuff on Disney Plus, and their Blu-rays are constantly the top selling Blu-rays. So I think they would still do that. I mean, obviously I don't know, but the incentive is, and I've been saying this for a while, is I think a lot of Blu-rays, whether it's Warner Archive or something like that, might start becoming manufactured on demand. And instead of having a plethora and a lot of extra product, you might have to order it and then they make it for you. Because vinyl never really went away either. But
no, things will resurge and whatnot. But I mean, ultimately, the bigger issue is just that, even if I would like to be optimistic on Ryan's side of the fence and say that they'll still license titles, but regardless, I don't want them to use it as an excuse to withhold title availability the way some of the streaming services do, or just say we're trashing it, we're keeping it off for a little bit, but then we'll bring it back eventually. And it's just This is why you got to pick up the physical copies if you want them, because the rotation does happen. It's not that they take away the movies, but there is a rotation that they do. So if you're trying to watch it a certain day and it's not available, that's where physical media definitely comes in handy amongst other reasons. So,
you also have to worry about, quietly editing movies on streaming. Like, say Amazon's like, oh, we don't want this piece of the scene in here anymore, so we can just take it out. And it's like, you'll never notice unless like you're a big fan of the movie.
And that's why I've been getting TV shows lately on Blu-rays and stuff, because stuff like Community or The Office, stuff that I love, they get taken off streaming all the time, certain episodes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's in a couple weeks, Parks and Rec come out on Blu-ray, which I already have the DVDs, but I want the Blu-rays. But I'm going to get it too, because I don't know, if I can't remember something overtly offensive in Parks and Rec, but who knows? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've been watching SNL episodes and they're way edited. Not just, the fact that they have musical performances in there, but there's skits and like, there's even, the end of the show when they, gather on stage at the end and say goodbye that are missing. So it's wild.
Yeah. If nothing else though, as long as Amazon sticks with certain elements of its business that it's already stuck to in terms of maintaining theatrical release, I would like them to at least stick through to that. As in terms of physical media, I hope to God that they understand that what they're buying is much bigger than just whatever they've set up on their side of the camp. Like, they need to actually give a shit. And they have a chance to stand out from something like Disney, where titles can become tricky to be available at times. But actually, within this news, Ryan, I did not realize that this was such a complete bafflement to people. So I will do the service on this show for people who need to remind us. And Ryan, you can join on this with me if you'd like. When we're talking about the MGM deal and we're talking about Amazon, just because MGM has its logo on Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind does not mean that MGM owns it. MGM's library from a certain period doesn't belong to MGM because MGM ruined its business several times over the course of history and was bought by several different things, which then ended up going into Warner Media. So if you want those two movies, they are available through Warner Media, both on Blu-ray, DVD, and on HBO Max. So yeah, there you go. I did not realize that was not known to people, but yes, that is why those two movies will not be coming to your Amazon Prime right away. You will have to still purchase them or rent them from Amazon if you want to watch them that way.
Ted Turner wins.
How does this affect Orion movies? Because that's the catalog I care about.
They are technically in conjunction with Orion, so Amazon owns Orion now.
Well, yeah, duh. But I'm just like, those movies exempt like The Wizard of Oz and whatnot? What?
There is, I'm guessing, I have all three RoboCops, so I don't know how that works out. They're technically a separate studio, and they might have different distribution deals. I don't know, distribution with home media and movies is just a mess anyways.
Well,
so.
If you want any current indication, Bill and Ted Face the Music, which is an Orion picture, had its Blu-ray distributed through Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. So they might farm it out to other people who are willing to put out the physical media and cut a break with that. So
Universal and Warner Brothers have teamed up. So
yes, they have. And then guys, do we want the last piece of news? The one that was the most tragic and probably broke Henry's heart?
No,
we have to talk about it, Corinne. We have to talk about it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Paddington 2 has fallen to 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Because the article Zach wrote.
This wasn't me, I swear.
Don't let him lie to you, Henry.
Henry, listen to me. We've talked about this. I support the bear as much as I support the guy who ended up becoming far too overweight. No, yes. Paddington 2 had recently been crowned as the #1 film of all time on Rotten Tomatoes after Citizen Kane had dropped to 99% because of one bad review. And now it looks like the internet has decided to throw Paddington 2 a curveball now. A review from Eddie Harrison to Film Authority wrote this about Paddington 2. This is not my Paddington Bear, but a sinister, malevolent imposter who should be shot into space or nuked from space at the first opportunity. Overconfident, snide, and sullen, this manky-looking bear bears little relation to its classic character, and viewers should be warned. This ain't yo mama's Paddington Bear, and it won't be yours either. Maybe if you'd never seen the TV show and didn't know any better, this'll work, but long-term Paddington fans will find this too much to bear.
Okay, this guy needs to just be thrown off of a cliff right now. This guy can get absolutely just fucked in the ass. Like, how dare he say that kind of thing about Paddington?
Ryan, really quickly, I read at least 3 different puns in this review. Mm-hmm. I'm not this bad. This guy's an asshole.
Well, he's like that. I forget the name of that one critic who purposely gives good reviews to shitty movies.
Mm-hmm. Like an Army Light.
Yeah. It's
this guy's just a major troll.
Yeah, that's what it is at the end of the day, is just being a tool.
Here is his defense of himself. I reviewed Paddington 2 negatively for BBC Radio on release in 2017 and on multiple occasions after that, and I stand by every word of my criticism. I really don't. I mean, it's fine if he wants to have that opinion about the movie, whatever. That's fine.
I mean, does he also kill puppies in his free time? Like, I'm just kind of wondering here.
Okay. Now, here's to clarify. You know, if you're a film critic, art is subjective. You don't have to like everything that comes down the pipeline. But it does seem interesting that all of a sudden now this review is being tossed into the algorithm or the aggregate for Rotten Tomatoes. So seems like if you make a big deal out of what the percentages are of movies on Rotten Tomatoes, that's when everything starts to get knocked down a percentage. Like a review from back in 1941 that was recently dug up and then stuck into Citizen Kane's legacy and ruining my day. But I digress. So yeah, now Toy Story 2 has taken the top spot once held by Paddington 2. It currently has a 100% rating with 169 reviews from critics. And if anybody tries to take that away from Toy Story 2, I'm going to roll my eyes at you, to say the least. I'll
do more than that.
So yeah. I mean, this is all. Let's keep in mind, fellas, that Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregate of several different critics, and the smarter thing to do would be actually to read the individual criticism, suss out the people who don't know how to write actual film criticism, and instead read articles that may, while negative, may point out actual things in regards to film theory and film criticism. That's how you do this properly. But regardless, yeah, Paddington 2 still #1 in our hearts, guys.
Amen to that.
Exactly.
And Citizen Kane can get fucked.
Yeah. Well, hey. I didn't make fun of Paddington 2. Why are you guys making fun of Citizen Kane? What the heck?
Citizen Kane's boring.
It's not boring.
Okay, Zach, if I have to choose between watching Citizen Kane or watching Paddington 2,
I understand that.
Take a gander as to what I'm picking?
I understand that.
One is an approachable and lovable film for all ages, and the other one is just like some guy doing bullshit for 3 hours.
The other one is an important film that stands the test of time as a story about the powers of corruption, which ended up being relevant for the last 3 to 4 to 5 years. But yes, I understand. Paddington 2 is much more entertaining and features Hugh Grant in an adorable performance. So, anyway, that's news unless I missed anything. Oh wait, Ryan. I guess actually, Ryan, the HBO Max Evil Dead Rises series, is that news, or we've already talked about that, right?
I mean, it's gonna debut on HBO Max is the only news for that.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, that's news.
See, you don't
McLeod
get a chance. You don't get a chance to shit on Citizen Kane all that often, so I'm going to take every opportunity I can get, Zach.
All right, that's fine. It's fair enough. It's fine. Let's go ahead.
Brad, they talked over you when you were trying to make an important point about someone who passed away because they don't care.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I'm sorry, Brad. Go right ahead.
Gavin McLeod, Murray from Mary Tyler Moore Show, and Captain Steubing from The Love Boat died.
That's right, yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore Show is a great TV show.
Between those two shows,
that guy.
Dick Van Dyke, Ed Asner, and Betty White are the last people standing.
Yeah.
So.
Kind of amazing that Ed Asner is still alive.
Yeah. Wow.
Are we all gonna go around and say like who is amazing that they're still alive? Because I go with Sidney Poitier. Like I cannot believe he's still alive.
Yep.
Sorry.
Good guy.
Sorry. I haven't watched Mary Tyler Moore in a while, so I don't remember him very well from it. So
he's Murray.
Okay.
He's like the main character.
I understand. I haven't watched Mary Tyler Moore in a while, Brad.
Well, why weren't you born like 10 years earlier, man?
I'm sorry. You have to talk to my parents about that.
You know, Brad and I are old as fuck, so we used to watch Nick at Night, and those shows were always on.
Yeah.
And, you know, you grow up, you literally grow up with them. I loved Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched and Mary Tyler Moore, and as I got older, then I just developed a huge crush on Mary Tyler Moore. So,
do you have a favorite moment that you have with Murray on the show, Brad?
No, not really. He was the head writer of the news, and you know, he was always making fun of Ted Baxter being an idiot. So,
okay,
yeah, a lot of great moments. I can't really pick one.
Blu-rays are coming out this week, tomorrow.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Hey, Ryan, before I announce the Blu-rays, can you tell me, do you have any wire hangers in your house?
Yes.
Yeah, you do? What did I tell you? No more wire hangers ever. That's a sly way of saying that Mommy Dearest is coming to Blu-ray via the Paramount Classics series. So nice little new restoration of the Faye Dunaway camp classic. That is a adaptation of the Joan Crawford tell-all book by her daughter, Christine Crawford, which has several different sources, but it's an intriguing movie to say the least. Also coming to 4K, you can get Smokey and the Bandit. Yes, the original 1977 classic available for you guys on 4K. You can also get at your disposal the first Tomb Raider movies, Lara Croft Tomb Raider and Lara Croft Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life in a 4K 2-pack from Paramount Pictures. And then let's see, Ryan, you and I might be I don't know. Were you a Little Rascals fan at all? Or
oh yeah, I love Little Rascals.
All right. Well, that classic.
Wait, are we talking about like the TV show or the movie?
The one
Both.
reel. Well, it was never a TV show. It was one reel. It was 1 to 2 reelers from the 20s and 30s by the Hal Roach Studios. So there was never TV. They were packaged as TV shows, but they were shorts. And you can get ones running from 1929 to 1930. 11 of these movies, courtesy of Classic Flicks Restorations in the Little Rascals Blu-ray set. This will include the shorts Small Talk, Railroadin', Lazy Days, Boxing Gloves, Bouncing Babies, Moan and Groan Incorporated, and then Shivering Shakespeare, The First 7 Years, When the Wind Blows, Bear Shooters, and A Tough Winter. So yeah, check that out. That company is the same one, I believe, that put out some of the Laurel and Hardy ones, if I'm recalling.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then coming to Blu-ray, we got a lot of things like coming out through Paramount Pictures. First of all, you can get In and Out, Kevin Kline from 1997, or as it's known on this show, President Steven.
President Steven, yeah. Wait.
President
remember Steven.
Have you been able to dig up that poster since you told me about this in 2017?
I know where it is. It's on my hard drive.
I'm going to see it.
It's just that cover art plus President Steven on it.
I know. I still wanted to see it and giggle at it. In and Out, though, fun movie from Frank Oz. So if you want to check that out, you can also check out his adaptation of The Stepford Wives from 2004, which is it's a thing. And then you can pick up Rat Race from 2001, the Jerry Zucker film, or you can watch It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, which is the actual good version of that story. Lionsgate is putting out a director's cut of But I'm a Cheerleader, the 1999 cult classic. There was a movie from Jendi Tartarovsky called Primal. This looks to be another piece of Tartarovsky animation that looks interesting. I guess this is a season, so you can pick that up if you would like. Disney is putting out some Vault releases. You can get Herbie Fully Loaded, the Lindsay Lohan Herbie movie from 2005. You can get The Kid from 2000 with Bruce Willis.
I love that movie.
The Kid, yeah. Does it hold up pretty well? Or I haven't seen it since the theaters. So yeah, okay. So I remember liking it when I was younger, but I don't remember a darn thing about it. Also coming to 4K, Backdraft, Ron Howard's firefighter movie that I enjoy. You can pick that up on 4K. A new release coming to Blu-ray is The Courier with Benedict Cumberbatch in some Cold War capers abound. And let's see. You can get a movie called Track Down from Scorpion Releasing from 1976. Looks to be a Western of some sort. And The Blue Lamp with Jimmy Hanley, Dirk Bogarde, and Robert Fleming from 1950. I've never heard of this, Brian, but this looks interesting. The guy, it's a cop with an old-timey cop hat on, looking like epically at a bunch of criminals, and one of his eyes is a blue lamp.
You're going to break the law, see?
Yeah. You're going to break the law, and I'm going to break my blue lamp over your head while I arrest you. Yeah. And then Samurai Jack, the complete series, is getting a release. 5 seasons spanning from 2001 to 2017. You can pick that up on Blu-ray. A 1993 movie called Flesh and Bone with Dennis Quaid, James Caan, and Meg Ryan. And yeah, looks to be about it, guys.
Yep. Lame week. We watch stuff throughout.
I was going to say I'm saving my money for Indiana Jones next week.
Yeah, that's coming. Right. Next week's actually pretty damn... That's pretty
Indy!
You're insulting them and you're embarrassing me.
This is what we watched this week.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Brad, what did you watch this week?
Oh, so much stuff. I'll start with today. I watched The Silence of the Lambs again. And I did it with a commentary on, and I was surprised. The commentary is one of those spliced commentaries where Jodie Foster, Jonathan Demme, and God, I can't believe I'm blanking on Hannibal Lecter's name right now.
Anthony Hopkins.
They're not in the same room at the same time, so someone just edited their separate commentaries together. Mm-hmm. But I was actually surprised, like, how much of the commentary is just like them admitting they didn't know what they were doing. They just followed an impulse, and fate had it that they turned it into a great movie. So that was kind of surprising. Yeah, and I didn't realize that George Romero was in it.
Oh yeah. One of the doctors.
Yeah. Police guy with a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
I've been forgetting to say that I've been watching The Bad Batch, Star Wars The Bad Batch, week after week.
Any good?
It's good. It's fine. It's just a little, like, to me, it just feels like a CGI version of The Mandalorian, but like if they had 4 Mandalorians, because they're basically trying to escape the Empire while protecting a kid, which is the Mandalorian. But the kid's not, the kid has a can talk. It has like a stronger personality. So that's the difference, has a little more autonomy, isn't as dependent on the Mandalorian. So yeah, I'm just kind of, and I'm not sure where it's going. So far they've kind of planet hop and then find themselves in new scenarios as they're just trying to hide the whole time. So it's 5 episodes in, and I'm not sure where this is leading.
How many episodes in the season? Do you know?
I don't know, probably 10. That seems to be.
You think it'd be a good show?
Now.
You think it'd be a good show to just like watch it once all the episodes are up?
Probably. It's very much like a sequel series to the Clone Wars. Like even the first title card takes the Clone Wars logo and morphs it into the Bad Batch logo. So I think people who have grown up following that, like, it's very much for them. I didn't, so I feel like I'm starting a new thing. But the dynamic is just like, wow, it kind of feels like The Mandalorian, but they gave us 4 Mandalorians and brought up Grogu's age a bit. So, yeah. And then, let's see, I rewatched Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which I've tried to watch it many times before and just fell asleep every time. But I didn't this time, and I felt like I remembered a completely different movie the last time I talked about it, because this felt totally different. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I did see it very much feels like a lot of elements from Fury Road are in that movie. It's almost like a practice run for Fury Road, especially the finale of the movie.
Yeah, I never thought it was a bad movie. It just is okay.
Yeah, like the opening part where they're in Bartertown and they actually do the Thunderdome fight is like, oh, that's pretty cool. But when he gets exiled and like meets the kids, and they have that whole expositional story of like, I think they like were on a plane that crashed, and then they try to go back to Bartertown, and I'm not sure why they even go back to Bartertown, because they don't need supplies. It's like the nearest town, but where they're coming from, I imagine, was closer. But yeah, they go there, cause a bunch of trouble, and then they do basically the Fury Road car chase on their way back to their village. Except it's on a train. It's on rails, and it's a train. But it's kind of the same thing where they're all trying to jump onto it while racing their like cars and everything. So yeah, it's all right. And I also got to rewatch Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which is another movie I'd tried to watch a couple times and just, not that it was bad, I just didn't finish it. And yeah, it's okay. It's just kind of like a lot of nonsense, like fun nonsense and randomness. So
yeah, I think that's a good way to describe that film.
Yeah, like nothing. Like there is the Denomalous. What's his name?
I don't remember.
Like there is the thing of like that guy's trying, like, builds robots that go out and kill Bill and Ted, and then they go to purgatory and try to get out. But everything that happens along the way very much just feels like, here's this random thing that we just like made up and is part of the story now. And I think the only really funny part is them like playing board games to beat Death. And Death keeps like reneging on the contract.
One more game.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fun. Let's see what else. What are we doing next week? Because I saw Cruella.
I was gonna do The Conjuring, but we can do Cruella if you want.
I saw Cruella too.
Okay, so maybe I should just do it now, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine.
In theaters, I saw Cruella, and I actually had a ton of fun with it. I had very low expectations, and it's visually gorgeous. Production design just knocks it out of the park. And there's a lot of comparisons to it being, the Joker because of the trailer, but it's actually better than that. There's a big spoilery plot twist thing that I want to like reveal. But like I'm like the 101 Dalmatians is not a precious story to me, so I don't mind a revisionist take on it. So the way they humanize Cruella de Vil and make her a protagonist is actually pretty creative. So I was on board. It's just it's a ton of fun. It's like it has a really good back and forth like cat and mouse game between her and Emma Thompson's character, the Baroness. Baroness. Cruella has some like legit, like awesome, like comebacks, like ways to destroy the Baroness. That just build and build and build. They're actually like really kind of creative and well thought out. So if you can check it out, I thought it's a lot of fun.
So do they? I guess I don't know if you can say this without spoiling it. So is she the villain or what's going on?
She's like an anti-hero, like I'd say like Venom is, you know?
Oh, okay.
Where she has a descent into like villainy, but it's like at some point, you know, she stops herself.
Yeah, like Maleficent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like Jasper and Horace, I think is the other one, you know?
Yes.
Like they all start out as like childhood friends, and then eventually, like as Cruella kind of embarks on trying to ruin the Baroness, you know, Jasper's like, you know, you used to be cool, man. You know,
I like that.
And that's not a quote. That's just like the vibe of like, you know.
Well, yeah, no, but I like that idea. That sounds fun.
You know, we're not your lackeys. You know, we'll help you to a certain point, but this is getting ridiculous. Like, how far are you going to go to ruin this girl? And then, the movie does a good job of thinking like, is she really going to like murder people and animals? Or are they going to, you know, bring her back from the edge? And so, it's she has a pretty decent backstory. Like her childhood is a little rushed, but I was surprised it was in there. I was just like, wow, they really started her like really early in the origin story.
That's cool.
Yeah, like her as a child goes on for quite a bit. I was like, wow, like a lot of devoted to this younger version of her before even Emma Stone appears. So
yeah, the movie was a little long. Like it felt like it should have been about 15 minutes shorter, and it would have been pretty much perfect.
Yeah, like sure, I guess time's not really a thing I worry about in movies, but like, at some points I was like, I wish it would go on. Like I was kind of like, this. Mostly because the art direction was so beautiful. Like when she starts showing off all her own designs, like her punk inspired designs, it's like I could take another 15 minutes of this.
Right, but I think it was just like after you get the kind of big revelation in the final third or whatever, it was like, okay, like we already kind of know where this is going, so let's like wrap it up here.
Yeah. And I was, it was cool to find out that the director also directed I, Tonya and the Fright Night remake.
Yeah. He's a good director.
Yeah. And then the last thing I saw in theaters was Dream Horse, which is a movie about a Welsh town, where this woman, I forget her name, but, she has a history of like winning at dog breeding, and you know the town's fallen on hard times, and she just kind of gets like this bug to start breeding horses to race, and so she scraps up just enough money to buy one to breed, and then she convinces the rest of the town to pitch in like a share. So basically, the whole town owns a share of the horse. So whatever they win, they get to split. And it's just like a cute foreign-ish movie. And for a lot of it, I'm just like, where's the adversity coming? Because so far they successfully bred the horse, they've raced it, it won. when's the shoe going to drop? And then it does. And you're just like, oh God, that's it. Like all these people own this horse. How are they going to decide? Like, how are they going to make decisions on its success? Like everyone has a stake in it, especially when it breaks its leg. The common thing is to put it down, but she's grown so attached to it that she doesn't want to. And there's a chance that it could survive. So, some of the town's like, well, I want to recoup my finances. I don't care about the horse, and she does. And so that's where the dynamic gets like tricky. So I thought it was pretty good. It's just a kind of a small slice of life. It was, fun to watch. Yeah, that's it for me.
Corinne?
So jumping off Brad's Cruella review, yeah, I kind of heard bad things going into it, so I had low expectations to begin with. I don't know, I just kept hearing like mixed things. Like some people on the internet said it was bad, and other people I talked to said it was good, and it's like, I don't know what's going on then. So, yeah, it was good. Like Brad said, all the costumes were amazing. The performances were pretty good. I think it could have been a little shorter. And I'm in the same boat as Brad as 101 Dalmatians. It's like, yeah, I've seen it, but my favorite part of the movie was at the very end when the Labrador showed up. And I was like, yeah, because we had Labradors. And I was like, oh, I don't care about Dalmatians or whatever. Like, no, the Labrador is the coolest character in the movie. But yeah, I felt like it was a really good, it was a really good Disney live action adaptation in that you had some elements from the original story there, but it was different and it felt like its own thing. And I appreciated that. Whereas, Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and whatever, it's like shot for shot remake and it's so frustrating. But here it was like, all right, we're just going to take the base elements of okay, you have Cruella de Vil and you got Dalmatians and you got Anita and Roger, and they're kind of all there, but they're not there to the degree that you would expect, with the exception of Cruella, because obviously she's the titular character. But it was, it was pretty good. I liked it a lot more than I thought I did, or thought I would. So there's that.
I saw a lot of the complaints were like, well, this ruins the animated one for me. I'm just like, how? Like, this is a live action.
It's
version.
It's like a completely different version of the story. It's not supposed to be like a prequel or sequel or whatever. Like, it's a completely different thing from, and we'd have to get into spoiler territory to really talk about it, but basically the events of 101 Dalmatians, I mean, I guess it theoretically could still happen, but it just wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, some people actually think it's like a prequel to the Glenn Close one. I'm just like, well, that was 20 years old, and does it have to tie into that just because it's live action? And then I heard the book, there's a sequel book to 100 Dalmatians where it involves space aliens. Is that true?
I don't know.
What?
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Wait.
People were defending Cruella, being like, have you read the sequel to 100 Dalmatians? It's off the rails crazy.
Ryan, do you have any knowledge if Walt Disney was trying to make this sequel happen before he died?
No, they made a direct-to-video sequel called Scamp's Adventure.
But did it have space aliens?
Not that I remember. Scamp's Adventure is Lady and the Tramp, isn't it?
I thought it was 101. I don't know. I don't follow the direct-to-DVD stuff.
I think
don't they have 102 Dalmatians?
There's
102 Dalmatians, but I thought that was a live-action one.
Yeah, that was the Glenn Close one.
But there's been straight-to-video animated ones with I think it's like Spot's Journey or something. I'm going to look
weren't very creative.
It's 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure.
So take that.
Here's my question. Is the original 101 Dalmatians still available to rent or purchase or watch on Disney Plus?
I would think so.
Okay.
I mean, I own the Blu-ray, so I don't know.
Okay, so it didn't ruin it for people. People can still watch that movie.
Yes, Scamp's Adventure is Lady and the Tramp 2. The new pup arrives February 27th.
That's the tagline?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to be
and
like,
it's premiering only on video and Disney DVD.
Oh, wait, only on video and Disney DVD? Crap.
Yes.
I haven't upgraded to a DVD player yet, Ryan.
And yes, the original 1961 101 Dalmatians is on Disney Plus, along with the live-action remake with Glenn Close, 101 Dalmatians Street, 101 Dalmatians 2, and 101 Dalmatians TV show.
Okay, so yeah, they didn't ruin it. Such a thing. So they didn't ruin it. You guys can still watch that version that you love.
Yep.
Okay, I found it. It's the book, The Starlight Barking. It's quite a few paragraphs explaining the plot, but the thing we're focusing on is Pongo. I'll just read this part. Pongo is chosen to make the final decision. He consults with the cabaret, Mrs. and the general. 3 stray dogs approach and tell Pongo that no lost dog wants to give their last chance at finding special humans of their own by leaving Earth. This convinces Pongo and the others to choose their masters over Sirius. While Sirius commends their loyalty to humankind, he is sad that he will have to return to space alone. The dogs promise they will look out for him on nights when the dog star is in the sky. Sirius grants
like
them
Cocoon.
the ability to swoosh into their homes before daybreak, at which time everything will return to... It does sound like Cocoon, but for dogs.
They'll never get older and they'll never get hungry.
Yeah, there's way more to this plot synopsis than I'm going to go into, but that's... Yeah, he's offering them a chance to avoid the pain of possible nuclear war in the future. He assures them the world when it wakes will not remember dogs ever existed and that all dogs will be free and know true bliss in the stars.
Oh, don't get me wrong. This sounds all lovely, but this is a big jump from crazy fashion designer wants to kill puppies to make a fur coat to the avoidance of the disaster of nuclear war by going to space.
So yeah, I wouldn't get too hung up on the continuity of the 101 Dalmatians saga. People.
Brad, we need to make that movie.
I'm sure Disney will get there. Sorry, Corinne, continue.
Okay, well, otherwise, it's been a while since I was on, so I'm going to hit some highlights that I haven't gotten to talk about yet. I watched Studio Ghibli's When Marnie Was There for the first time. And it's a really, really good movie. The artwork and animation is just top notch. Great voice work. And the plot, like, once we kind of got into it, I was like, okay, it's either one of these two things. And then one of those ended up being pretty much right. And it didn't detract from the experience, but it was just kind of like, okay, where are we going with this? And then when it all kind of comes together at the end, it's like, oh my gosh. And then it's like, oh, tears everywhere. So good. So the reveal was basic in a sense, but it was like so well executed that you kind of just didn't care once you got to that point, because it's like so emotional, you guys. So that's on HBO Max, When Marnie Was There. I highly recommend it for everybody. And then I also watched the Disney series, The Owl House, and it's really good. It is a kid's show, and there are a lot of episodes that kind of feel like that. It's an animation. It's kind of in the style of like Gravity Falls or something. I don't know. I've never seen Gravity Falls, but I guess one of the people who worked on that show made The Owl House or something, so that's why it kind of feels similar. And it's good. The premise is that this girl, Luce, she gets, I don't know, sucks through is not the right. She goes through this portal into this magical world, and she gets more or less trapped there. Well, not trapped, I guess, but she just decides to hang out there because she's supposed to be at this summer camp that she doesn't want to go to. So she's like, well, my mom's not expecting me to be home for 3 months, so I'm just going to kick it here with like her mentor who's a witch, and Luce wants to like train in magic and be a witch. And then there's like this little demon dog thing. It's hard to explain, but he's really cute. And so it's just different like little adventures that they go on, and some of them are kind of like typical kids show things of like there's a body swap episode, and there's an episode where Luce has to like figure out the value of telling the truth or whatever kind of stuff like that. So there's always going to be some kind of like moral lesson. But it's good, and it kind of builds so slowly that you don't even know what's happening. But once you get to like the final 2 episodes, all that groundwork and all the character development and everything that's happened, you're just like, oh, chef's kiss. Like, it comes together so beautifully, and the stakes are raised in a serious way, and the villain that they introduced is so cool. I'm like, oh, this is one of the best TV villains I've seen in a long time. And don't want to spoil anything, so I won't even tell you who the voice actor is, but the voice actor for the villain does an excellent job. So I'm really excited. Season 2 is supposed to be dropping, I think, June, July. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, The Owl House. Really good. It's worth watching just to get to those last 2 episodes where everything kind of comes together, and like you start to see like, oh, this show's got real potential here, guys. It's not just like a doopy kid show. So there's that. And then, I watched Cruella and, a bunch of other stuff, but nothing really interesting. Those are the big things. So that's what I've been watching.
Zach?
Watched a movie that I don't remember much of with Kirk Douglas called 2 Weeks in Another Town. And it's the follow-up to The Bad and the Beautiful, which when I first saw it, which I think was on like TCM or something, the first time, the only things I really remembered about it were it was about making movies in Italy and that I liked Kirk Douglas in it. But it's knowing that it's connected to The Bad and the Beautiful after the discussion that I had on Ballyhoo with Ryan Johnson about it. I've been I was noticing the different flourishes that Minnelli ports over from Bad and the Beautiful into this one. And if you don't know the story, it's about a guy, Kirk Douglas plays an actor who is all washed up and is called upon by his old directing buddy to come to Italy to play a bit part in the movie, and then is tasked with basically finishing the movie for his friend who is basically washed up and can't get the financing or the approval for additional filming time. Meanwhile, he also falls in love with Sid Charisse because she's Sid Charisse, and why wouldn't you fall in love with her? And features Edward G. Robinson in it as his old director friend, and in a performance that I think, like, honestly, like, rewatching it, I think this is I would put this in the top tier of Edward G. Robinson's performances because it's the most unexpected thing you'll ever see. Like, if you're looking for the typical tropes of an Edward G. Robinson performance, whether that be gangster or, smart talking wise guy, like, he actually is like kind of put through an emotional ringer in the movie. That's a very interesting thing to watch. The movie itself is a little off its rocker, but it's so damn ambitious of Minnelli to try to do this that I really appreciate it. So, and Kirk Douglas, the one thing I remembered from watching it previously, which still stands, is Kirk Douglas is pretty damn really good in this movie. Like, he really is solid. He engages in this material in such an interesting way that I'm like, you're kind of dipping into the melodrama territory, but I just really love what you're bringing to the table here in terms of this washed up actor who's kind of like aware of how the business works. So yeah, that's it. And then I've been going through I went through the first 4 seasons, or the first 3 seasons of The Simpsons. And so I started from season 1 into season 3. I actually found a lot of things to love about season 1 that I hadn't rewatched seasons 1 and 2 for years. And there's still a lot of damn good stuff in seasons 1 and 2. The pilot, the episode that was supposed to be the pilot, Some Enchanted Evening, which then got ported into the season finale because of production issues, is a really solid Simpsons story. It has Penny Marshall playing the Miss Botts, the babysitter bandit, and you also get first appearances from Kelsey Grammer and A. Brooks in a couple of different episodes, actually, for Brooks. That I'd forgotten about Life on the Fast Lane, where he's Jacques, the man who's seducing Marge at the bowling alley. And then season 2, they really find their stride, and they're really understanding what the show is and what it can do. The first episode with Phil Hartman arriving, not just as Lionel Hutz, but also the voice of Heaven's announcer telling Bart not to spit over the escalator to heaven, is really damn funny. By the time I got to season 3, like everything's like right into gear what it's going to be. And I'd be hard pressed to try to start trying to rank any episodes in particular in terms of my favorite of all time. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is trying to track at least the top 3 episodes in each season. So like for season 1, I think I would put it Krusty Gets Busted at number 1, with Some Enchanted Evening at number 2 for myself. And then also Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, which is the Christmas special, because it is like the undeniable great one. But season 2, like it was filled to the brim with great stuff, but I think I would put in Marge learning to reclaim her love of painting, which has Ringo Starr, and it still has that great line of Ringo Starr going, "Thanks for the lovely picture. I hung it on me wall." And 3 Men in a Comic Book is a pretty damn funny, still a damn funny one about them trying to all buy Radioactive Man number 1. And Blood Feud, where Bart gives Mr. Burns a blood transplant, and they have the whole Homer writes a letter of anger to Burns after all he sends is a thank you note, and it has that great moment of Homer going to the post office going, "Hello, my name is Mr. Burns. I believe you have a letter for me." "Okay, Mr. Burns, what's your first name?" "I don't know." Yeah, so there's a lot to go. But for season 3, I'm still trying to rank it, but I think I would definitely put Black Widower in there because, you know, the Krusty Gets Busted. The one thing that is sad about it in certain respects is that Kelsey Grammer's only in it for a little bit, so he's not given a chance to lay into the Sideshow Bob character. What the heck was that feedback about? But yeah, it's been a fun ride so far. I'm excited to go into it. And then I took a break because I'm going to be on a podcast this coming week talking about Sherlock Holmes for Pop Culture Brews. And I decided to rediscover some Sherlock Holmes stuff that I don't normally go back to. And one of them was the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes series that Granada TV did with Jeremy Brett. So, Corinne, are you a Jeremy Brett fan when it comes to Sherlock Holmes, or are you not aware of this?
I mean, I'm aware of it. I've just never seen any of that.
All right.
I'm more familiar with the CBS, is it CBS Sherlock? And then, of course, the BBC Sherlock.
Oh, so CBS, it would be Elementary.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Elementary.
Yeah, and then BBC is Sherlock with Senior Cumberbatch and Senior Freeman. Mm-hmm. This one, Corinne, I think you would enjoy a lot. I thought of you the moment that I went back into this. So, a bit of history. When I saw episodes of this initially, I was not a fan. It was when I was younger, and so now that I'm older, and now that I enjoy being patient with stuff and observing somebody's performance, I really, really love Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes. He's not my favorite Sherlock Holmes. Nobody's going to be replacing Basil Rathbone for me anytime soon. But Jeremy Brett is Sherlock Holmes. I totally get it. He is Sherlock Holmes. He envelops that character perfectly, almost to a damn it's damn perfect. It, like right from the get-go, within the first episode when they're doing a scandal in Bohemia and they have him observing Irene Adler at the premises of on the premises of her, where has her next target or her next love, and Holmes is adopting a disguise. Normally, when a Sherlock Holmes actor adopts a disguise, it's pretty easy to tell that it's Sherlock Holmes right away, depending on who's filming it and how they're showing it. and who's playing the role, but Jeremy Brett fooled me for a good 30 seconds to a minute of going like, oh my God, wait, oh, it is Holmes. Yeah. But it shows the commitment that Brett brings to not just playing Holmes, but playing Holmes, playing a character that Holmes has to play to go undercover. It's pretty damn wonderful. And their version of the Naval Treaty was really well shot. Like this is the thing about the Granada show that I'm noticing is like the cinematography is like absolutely beautiful to look at. In terms of any type of, British production at the time in the 80s, but especially this, just looking at how they use the space and the locations and direct their actors. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I got this through a subscription to BritBox on Amazon. So now I have BritBox. So maybe you'll expect me to sound more like Corinne within the coming months, going through all of BritBox's material. So yeah. And then, for further Sherlock Holmes research, I hadn't rewatched the Guy Ritchie movies in a while, and I like those films a lot. So I went back to them in a double bill last night. First Sherlock Holmes, with Downey Jr. and Law. It's a great kickoff for those characters and those portrayals of the characters. I've started digging into this last night and finding out that not everybody's a big fan of this particular series of Sherlock Holmes films and their portrayals. And I would defend these films by saying that they do a good service in piquing interest of Sherlock Holmes to people who may not otherwise have given Sherlock Holmes a second thought in the world of today. And I'd argue that that Downey and Law bring back the cinematic fun of watching Holmes and Watson on screen. They're not definitive Holmes and Watson, but they are really damn good at providing an entry point for people that I appreciate. And Downey Jr. is really damn fun in the movie. He's just fun to watch. But I will tell you, I used to love the first one over Game of Shadows because I used to have issues with Game of Shadows. Rewatching Game of Shadows, I think I'm starting to flip on this because I really liked going back to Game of Shadows. Pretty much everything is working on the cylinder that I want it to. And I really like Jared Harris's Moriarty. It's not the best Moriarty, but it is a really damn good Moriarty. And that scene where they have stopped the assassination and they're playing the chess game and they're going over their final moves. And you see Moriarty and Holmes both calculating out what the move is going to be with them in the fight over Reichenbach Falls, and just the way it's executed to carry out the fall at Reichenbach is absolutely superbly constructed to my mind from a visual standpoint. It just looks fantastic. So yeah, the only criticism I still kind of have from Game of Shadows is when they do the little stinger at the end where they reveal that, of course, Sherlock Holmes didn't die at Reichenbach Falls. And they have him writing a question mark at the end of one of Watson's stories. I'm like, okay, I don't need that, but I'm fine. I'll deal with it. So yeah, if you haven't checked out the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes films, you should. And I hope we get a third one. And I hope it's a cool tale. So yeah, and that's all I watched this week.
I watched a couple things. I watched the Friends reunion on HBO Max. It was fun. It's more of, hey, let's interview the stars of the show about how they felt about the show and how they are today. They had a bunch of guest stars on. I guess the biggest one was Lady Gaga singing Smelly Cat with Lisa Kudrow. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. If you're a big fan of the show, it's kind of fun to go back and see all the characters or the actors talk about what it was like to make the show, and they do some fun bits on it. And I mean, I guess the coolest thing is it's an hour and 40 minutes, so it's not just some quick 30-minute thing. It's always kind of fun to watch. I love Friends, and just fun to revisit that stuff. I watched the Angelina Jolie movie, Those Who Wish I Was Dead, or something like, I don't even remember the name. I didn't like the movie that much.
Those Who Wish Me Dead.
There we go. That's what it is. and it's okay. So the movie is she's some firefighter in a national forest or something like that. And the year before, there's a huge fire, and she doesn't recognize the wind changing, so these 3 kids die in the fire. So she's reckless now, guys. She'll get drunk and open up a parachute out of the back of a pickup truck. And then there's this subplot where this guy and his kid have to escape because these bad guys, played by Beast from X-Men First Class and Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, they are killing people because they know stuff about these guys. They never really explain it. It's a lot like Mission Impossible 3 with a rabbit's foot, but you forgive Mission Impossible 3 because it's a cool movie. This one, do you ever watch a movie and you're saying, man, did I miss a scene or something? Because I don't understand. It seems really weirdly edited. Mm-hmm. Like I missed some exposition, but nope. I thought so in this movie, but nope. It's disappointing because it's the writer of Sicario did this, and I thought it'd be a lot more cool.
This is his follow-up from Wind River, I think. So this is kind of disappointing to hear. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's parts where she's running across a field with the kid. So anyways, the dad gets killed for some reason, and then the kid runs away, and Angelina Jolie has to help him. Whatever. And there's a part where they're running across an open field in the national forest, and there's lightning striking, but there's no like build up to it. And all of a sudden, Angelina Jolie and this kid are friends. It's bizarre. It seems like they edited some stuff out. I don't know.
How long is the film?
An hour and 40 minutes, I think.
Oh shoot, that's quick.
Yeah, but I was watching, and I kept on thinking I missed stuff, and so I would go back, I'd hit back on my controller to rewind it, and I go, no, I watched this scene, and this scene literally just jumps to this part where they're running across the field, and then they stop running and duck so they don't get struck by lightning, and then Angelina Jolie gets struck by lightning for some reason. I don't know. I guess because it looks cool is the only thing I can think of is why it was in the movie. I don't know, because I heard mixed things about it, but I was hoping that it'd be better. And, you get to a point, I think we mentioned it a few weeks ago, but, there's so many revenge films now that it's become, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And whatever.
But Ryan, vengeance must be had.
Yeah. I dug into the 4K of Last Action Hero. It's pretty fun. Obviously the movie's great. And it's interesting listening to John McTiernan talk about it in the commentary, because he talks about how much he hated it too. And
shoot, I forgot to totally add that to my watch list.
Oh shit. Yeah. I guess, Brad, we were texting during it. He talks about how much he had no faith in the movie and how many mistakes he made making the film. It was really bizarre listening to the commentary.
It was really what I did wrong. It didn't start out like that, but I think halfway through he realized that he wants to make small, intimate pictures and not blockbusters.
Yeah, because he mentioned a lot of times in the film, during the commentary, that he says, it's just there's too much money. And, you just had to keep on making it bigger and making it bigger and making it bigger, because this was supposed to be the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
And
like from a marketing standpoint, like that's what you expect from like all these elements together. But the script Shane Black wrote is not that.
Yeah.
And that's what they committed to making, because he says we shot everything in the script. So, he didn't change anything or add to it. It was just or even pare it down. It was just
yeah, my only criticism always for the film, and he mentioned this, is it's too long. There's just, there's a pacing issue towards the end of it. But I still think it's a great film. And I mean, it looks amazing on 4K.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, it's cool because I've never seen it look so great. And I'm noticing details like on Danny's jacket. It has cracks, and it just, it looks amazing. Really, the soundtrack too gets a huge boost from the 4K. So yeah, that was really fun to watch. The making of is from like
that's the
definitely
bummer.
Yeah, like an EPK.
It's like a convention promo thing, like
it's like something you'd see playing at Blockbuster while you're waiting for the movie to come out on video cassette.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the deleted scenes really didn't add anything. When they had an alternate ending, I was excited, but the alternate ending is him leaving the movie theater and his mom being there. You go, oh, cool.
What other movie did I compare that to? I was like, this is the same ending as this. Oh, shoot. What was it?
Certain commentary that was recorded by two friends of mine.
Yes. I mean, we should have been on there for sure.
Yeah.
But then the trailer's not even like the best trailer.
No. The trailer's interesting, though. At least it's different, I guess. I've never seen that trailer before. Have you?
I think when I was looking for trailers for like a Film Explosion, I saw that version, but I was like, this sucks. I'm going to find a different one.
But yeah, it's still a fun movie.
Oh, the ending's like Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
When Danny and his dad Charles Pennington like reunite after the Shredder fight, it's like Danny and his mom in this movie.
Yeah, it's totally right.
He even had some of the same dialogue because like I almost expected him to say like it's just Dan now.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it's cool that it's on 4K, and I mean the Steelbook has the original box art. There's stuff. The transfer is amazing. Okay. Even the Hamlet part, I noticed a lot more in it. So yeah, it's great. You should pick up Last Action Hero. Support that film.
It's the best version we'll probably ever get of the movie. So just enjoy what we got.
But that was the argument from the get-go that you guys had been expounding upon for a couple of years was just at the very least a good transfer of it. So at least you did get that. So
yeah, it's like we can't expect too much more, like especially in the deleted scenes and bonus like behind scenes department, because like I mean sure it's out there, but because the movie is so successful, there's probably not a lot of people's photos or stuff on set that they can put on the DVD.
That too, and I think it's so. There's a lot that happened behind the scenes that I'm guessing you could probably never get Arnold Schwarzenegger to do, something really candid. I mean, not because he wouldn't be willing to. Maybe he just doesn't want to throw people under the bus.
There's also legal reasons for not making documentaries in terms of signing releases for using footage of actors that hasn't been already previously released. So if you show that stuff in there. Like Scream Factory talks about this anytime they're interviewed. Like not every special feature is possible because of the litigation involved. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since the director feuded with the producers, that's not going to end up in there.
Yeah. I mean, McTiernan's pretty honest in his commentary, so that's probably the best you're going to get. It did make me go down a Last Action Hero rabbit hole. Tomorrow I have the novelization of Last Action Hero arriving in the mail. It was only $5.
Your own deleted scenes.
Totally. So I'm going to read it. It's $5. And if I remember reading right, I think it's only 140 pages. So I'm hoping it's a quick read. And the last thing I watched was Army of the Dead. It's all right.
Not as fun as his Dawn of the Dead.
No, not even close. It's everything Zack Snyder films are, where they look really cool. They they have some cool moments, but they're too long and the story's garbage. So,
that sucks.
I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, there's some fun parts to it, but
do you think it'd be fun if I went to the theater for it? Because it is showing at Landmark Greenwood Village. So
yeah, I mean, I might try it in the theater. The problem, you're streaming it on Netflix, and I guess it's actually how he shot it, but there's some really weird, like out of focus shots. And, I mean, the gore is really great in it. The gore is mostly practical.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the zombie lore is pretty fascinating in it. So yeah, I mean it's fun, but it's also like 2 hours and 35 minutes or something, and that's a long movie.
That's your Netflix bargaining chip, baby. You get all the time you want.
Yeah, I mean Netflix already said that is the Zack Snyder cut of Army of Dead. So, and I've noticed that with a lot of Netflix stuff it's cool, and it also backfires because I think Netflix films actually have a feel to them. Because I think they struggle with pacing a lot, and that, and I'm with Brad. I don't mind movies being long, if they have a story to tell. But
well, Netflix movies are engineered to keep you signed in for as long as possible. So,
and yeah, I don't know. There's some stuff that you really don't need, and Dave Bautista is really great in it. And there's some really cool action scenes. I feel like I say this about every Zack Snyder film. There's some great action scenes. The story kind of meanders, and then it suffers from some pacing issues. But I always say too, Endgame is 3 hours long, but it doesn't feel like 3 hours. Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead is 2.5 hours long, and it feels like 2.5 hours.
It's a subjective point of view thing, but it is also like ultimately there is overall pacing that will identify itself for anybody.
You can still make the film 2.5 hours long if you cut it properly. But Zack Snyder does a lot of slow motion shots.
Yeah,
and a lot of there's a part where they're running through the casino and they're just taking out zombies, which is really cool. And then it just grinds to a halt. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. But I'll still go.
Yeah, you should still. People should still check it out. I don't think it's horrible. I think I gave it 3 stars because there's still some fun parts in it. But yeah, just with the caveat that that's what it is.
Right on.
Yeah, and that's what I watched this week. This week, the Real Nerds visited the theaters and saw A Quiet Place Part 2. Corinne, did you see this film?
I did, yeah. I wasn't planning to because I haven't seen the first one, but some friends of mine were going to go, and there was an extra ticket, so I kind of got guilted into taking it. And I was like, well, seeing it with friends, it'll be fun. And yeah, it was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. Zach, would you recommend A Quiet Place Part 2?
I appreciated them expanding on their version of the lore a little bit, whether through prequel or follow up from the first one. And I really liked Cillian Murphy in the movie, and I'm hoping to God we continue to see more of him because it's every time he pops up in a movie, I'm super excited. But then it feels like he goes away for a couple of years, so I'm hoping we get a Murphy assance. So. And the whole cast is wonderful. Emily Blunt kills it again as per usual. We'll talk a little bit about it after spoilers. There was something I noticed throughout the pacing of the story that I kind of wondered, if one thing got taken away in favor of another, and I'm curious what other people think. But yes, you should go see it. It's a lot of fun. And once again, Krasinski is mastering that work with dealing with silent cinema and dealing with the sound design. It all works perfectly.
Brad, do you recommend A Quiet Place Part 2?
Yeah, despite being completely taken out of the movie by a couple of chatty people for the entire runtime.
Where did you see it at?
The Meadows, Regal Meadows. I wasn't I wasn't the only one in there with them, so it's even more frustrating that none of the people that were also there bothered to do anything about it. So I just feel like I'm taking crazy pills that like people aren't bothered by talking. It's like it's a movie that's mostly silence. How could you not be bothered by these people just interrupting everything? They even laughed at like some messed up parts. But despite that, what?
You're not the only one who dealt with that. I had people talking in my theater too. I don't fucking get it.
I had a guy who's a friend of a friend, like 2 people down from me. He was like hacking really loud through part of the movie. And at the very beginning, he like spilled all of his like popcorn and drink and stuff. And it was really loud.
Wow.
So it's all right. Not quite as bad as your experience, but it's not like, yeah, when it is like quiet like that, it's really hard to do any kind of noise.
Yeah, it's like there's these moments of it's building tension, and then they like that person just ruins it. And like when the sound is like completely zero, yeah. But the funny thing was like in Cruella, I thought I was like 5 minutes in the movie, I'm like, sweet, I'm the only one here, and then these 2 girls showed up, and I was like, oh, here we go, and turns out they were perfectly pleasant. They didn't say a damn thing until the credits when they're like, that was actually pretty good. So, yeah. Anyway, Quiet Place. It's for me. It's pretty much the same experience as the first one. A lot of great tension in the movie. There is one moment that I was just like, "Why did they do that? Like that doesn't make sense. Like why?" So I'm hoping you guys can clear it up for me when we get to it.
I think this movie was awesome. It's a Zach touched on. It's a master class not only in sound design, but I also think movement of the camera and building tension. And unlike you guys, I actually had a great audience, and I was at a sold out Alamo screening of it.
Well, you did it right. You went to the Alamo.
Yeah. So I went to it was sold out. They still had the staggered seating, but every row had people in it, and it was quiet when it was supposed to be quiet, and people like yelped when there was jump scares, but I like the jump scares in this movie because they weren't forced.
They're not cheap.
No. So I think you should see this film. And actually, Corinne is a great catalyst for. I don't think you need to see the first one to see this film.
There was maybe 1 or 2 things that happened that I was like, I don't really get that, but otherwise it was pretty intuitive.
Yeah, and because they give you the kind of day one, so you kind of know what's happening. But it's awesome, and yes, Emily Blunt is amazing. Here's a trailer for A Quiet Place Part 2.
What happened? A bomb, I think. I don't know why you came all the way up here. There's nothing left.
There are people out there. People worth saving.
Most people had finally given up hope.
Quiet Place Part 2 opens quite smartly, I think, to help people like Corinne who have not seen the film. Day one of this, now we know, alien attack. And, you're really sucked into the world again, which is really great. And where people just go about their lives how it normally happens, and then something catastrophic happens, and who stands up and who makes a decision that helps everybody. And it's interesting when you see Lee, John Krasinski's character, figure out that it's sound that they recognize. And what I loved about this film too is anytime his daughter was the focal point, is there was no sound in the film. It was completely silent because she's a deaf girl, and in real life she's deaf as well, and she's an incredible actress, by the way.
Ryan, you mentioned that that perspective thing. The shot at the beginning when they are first moving around with Krasinski, and then it shifts within the same camera movement into her perspective, and the sound dips. It is just fantastic. Like that's that sound design I was talking about. Like he's moving and he is finding new ways to deal with the sound design in a way that I think even top the first one in certain respects.
And that's what I mean too, because he's a master. He moves the camera and he'll move it to her and then cut the sound immediately. Mm-hmm. It's really fascinating. Anyways, it fast forwards to the end of the first film, and where the Abbott family has to leave the farm because it's been attacked and they can't. It's not safe there anymore. And they stumble upon Emmett. I can't remember. I think that's his name.
His name's Cillian Murphy. Know it.
And he tells him you met him on the first day and they were friends, and you find out that his whole family has died, and lives in this steel factory, I guess. And a
foundry of sorts.
Yeah, the daughter finds out that there's a hidden message on the radio, and she sets out to find this island with why the song's playing from there.
So that she can use her earpiece to broadcast into the farther reach.
And that's pretty much the plot. It's really great though. There's moments in this film that it just is pretty, heart wrenching. When you first meet Emmett and he helps the Abbott family, and he's saying that you have to go, and Emily Blunt says, "You were our friend once. You were our friend." And it's just, there's moments like that I think that elevate this film, where, you're taking a B movie concept of monsters coming from outer space, and you're making it a truly remarkable film by having a master direction, sound design, actors, and you elevate the material to heights, And
that's what he did with the first one. And the second one, the one thing that it took me a while to kind of settle into this was the shifting. We're really shifting the focus onto the kids at this point. We're like, because Blunt's character is she's very, present in the movie, but in terms of action wise, like it's Noah Jupe and Millicent Simmons who are really the stars of this movie.
Oh yeah, no, she's. It's definitely. I think it's Millicent Simmons' movie.
Oh yeah.
Emily Blunt is, of course, going to get top billing, but
her journey's different by comparison. Like she basically got her, Mama takes revenge against the space aliens moment in the first movie with shooting the creature after they discover the frequency thing. And this is Simmons' chance to kind of strive in that department. And I know I was like kind of like making giggles about it, but like Cillian Murphy, like genuinely hands down, like, if you need evidence for why you need to get this guy into some more movies, here's your answer, because he's fucking fantastic. And really, like I love the moment when, so that they get to a boat at one point to take them to an island where the radio frequency is coming from, where they're hearing Bobby Darin beyond the sea. And these feral people come up and are trying to take Regan. And Cillian Murphy does a callback to the first time he ever learned sign language from her about diving into the water. It's like this wonderful moment, like to just set off the action. Like that's a beautiful script callback there.
Yeah. And I love how, like, that is great payoff to that moment earlier but I love how they cap off that entire sequence where he pops onto the boat and he has the earpiece thing in his mouth. Like, he saved it, because, like, I completely forgot. Like, oh, yeah, they stole the thing. And then he, like, pops out and is like, oh, my gosh, like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he needs to be in more stuff. And just looking at his IMDb page, I guess he's been really busy with Peaky Blinders lately.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I just wish I saw him in more movies because I'm so TV ignorant. But
and on a side note, he looked good in this movie. Like, the beard, the rustic look that he had going on, protecting the kid. I'm like, oof, yeah. Keep it up there, bud.
You're just like, man, Jonathan Crane got rugged.
Like, between him and Emily Blunt, man, the bisexuals must have been having a great time at this movie.
Also, Ryan, isn't it cool how radio saves us all?
I know.
I guess I don't get, why did it have to be this song? Why couldn't they just had, like, on a loop say, hey, like, everybody come out to this island, like, you can, as long as you can get here, well, we don't have any aliens.
I think they're protecting themselves from people like they ran into on the dock.
Like the feral people. So if they just keep it as one consistent loop of Bobby Darin, like, it's more of a code than anything else, because the feral people might just pick it up and go like, not my favorite station. But
also, like, why were those people like so like cavalier about sound out like there? Because it seemed like they had no problem making noise on that island.
Because the aliens can't swim.
Yeah, Jaimin Hansu says the aliens can't swim. The only reason they get to the island is because they snuck on that boat.
I when I saw that, I was thinking, oh man, here's a shout out to Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, what is it with, like, alien invasion movies and water? Why is it water is always their weakness? Between this and Signs, and I guess to some degree what's the one, War of the Worlds?
Because
I guess that's more microbes.
Water's
or
like
whatever, but
symbolic of like Earth life. So
yeah. Whether it's set to destroy them or to inhabit them.
Yeah. I mean, I think the movie's really clever. And, what's cool is in the first film, they really didn't show the creatures till the very end. And in this one, since you knew what the creatures were, they're just like, you know what? Here they are.
But he does know when to not, like, lay into it. Like, I still appreciate that these visual effects are not, like, shoved in your face. Like, there's moments where these foot monsters are out of focus. Your focus is squarely with the characters where it should be. Oh my God. The scene where as they're cross-cutting between everything, Noah Jupe and the baby stuck in that chamber, like, my freaking, like, brain was on fire with anxiety, going like, oh my God.
I know that whenever Emily Blunt's character, the mom, like, comes in and she closes the thing and you see it, like, catch on, like, that rug or towel or whatever it is, I heard everyone around me breathe a sigh of relief of, like, oh, thank God. Like,
just like, oh God, they remember the towel.
And similarly, like, whenever the son gets his foot caught in the trap, everyone went, ugh.
Oh my God, his screams of pain. Like, okay, I would nominate that is the, like, terror, like, the biggest terror moment in the movie for me is that bear trap, because he is howling in pain and it is horrible to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So my other question was the part where Millicent wakes up after Cillian Murphy, like, finds her and, like, I guess she takes a nap or something, and she can't find her gear or her hearing aid, and then she wanders outside and gets, like, really depressed, thinking that he has walked off with all of her supplies, but he shows up and gives it back to her. If he had planned to, like, I don't know why he took her stuff. Like,
in case he ran into any of the creatures, he would turn it on.
Oh.
And kill them.
Defend himself.
But how did he know that did that?
Because he saw them do it earlier.
Saw her use it. He saw them use it when they first saw him, and when he got on the train and she was using it.
Mm-hmm.
And he shot that one from behind.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and the movie's awesome. It's just shot so it looks so cool. The part where Blunt sets off I fucking love Emily Blunt, where she sets off the sprinkler head. It just looks cool. I mean, it's so well made. I freaking love Jim from The Office. And it was even cool, at Alamo, the pre-show, they had the clip from The Office where they had the longest the office has been without making any noise. And when Kevin eats his candy bar and goes, "Oh
yeah." Really, Kevin?
It's just fun because I just miss movies being packed. Like seeing that moment in the pre-show and the whole audience is just laughing and cheering. I said, this is what movies are about. This is what I miss about going to the movies.
Would you say the percentage of this film, Ryan, was 60-40 on the 60-40 or 70-30 on the sound versus no sound?
Oh yeah. Because Regan is the main character. I mean, I think it's her movie.
So that means, Ryan, that the box office was really brought back to life this week, because the numbers on this thing were fucking huge, by the way. The box office was brought back by a part silent, part sound film. So technically silent films have circled back to becoming the predominant form of entertainment, mass entertainment.
But yeah, I'm just a fan, and it's just really cool. Just a cool concept, and the movies work so well. And it's funny seeing I saw it with Laura, and you could see her cry a little bit when it was mama in distress moments, she called it, where protecting the baby, help when her kid gets his foot caught. It's interesting how different people will relate to the film too. In the first film, me personally, you relate to John Krasinski's character because you'll do anything for your kids. And it's a continuation with Emily Blunt in this one, where she's a badass anyways. I fucking love that woman. Have I ever mentioned that before?
No.
What? I know.
Yeah, we all relate to different things within it. I related to the whole idea of a radio station saving humanity from noise attracted aliens.
But it's so cool too, because there's a nice transition in that moment where she hangs her earpiece on the microphone.
Yeah.
And it's shot so cool that she is no longer afraid of these monsters. And it's hero shots, it's low. The lighting is a little over the top, but it looks badass. And her just taking that pole and jamming it in that fucker's head. It's like, yes.
He clearly learned a lot from Michael Bay working on that film that he did with him. I still never saw it, nor do I care to. But
wasn't Michael Bay like executive producer on this film?
He's a main producer on this film. He works directly with it. So
it's actually all the producers are Platinum Doom guys.
Yeah, because it is a Platinum Dunes film, isn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah, but it's I don't think Platinum Dunes exists anymore, because it wasn't at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, it was.
Platinum Dunes?
Uh-huh.
Was it? I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, they're technically still in operation because they're putting out the final Purge film, because that's their franchise too with Blumhouse. So they do a co-op with it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw all those guys in the producers thing, but I don't remember seeing the logo.
Oh, I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was shocked to see the Paramount logo again, because I'm like, oh my god, they're still around.
That reminds me, was there anything that happened before it said day one?
No.
Okay.
Day zero.
I thought it was kind of impressive that when they saw the thing falling from the sky, everybody immediately got up and left. Like, it wasn't even a question of like, hey, some of us want to keep playing and some of us don't. Like,
I don't know. They took a little long. It took the kids seeing it first. I'm like, clearly these guys were too focused on this softball game.
What's crazy too is that if you look at IMDb, A Quiet Place 2 on Emily Blunt's page is before Wild Mountain Time. That's how long ago. Remember, this was there's episode of Real Nerds Podcast from March of last year, where we say this is the next film we're going to see. And then the fucking pandemic happened.
Speaking of, what are we seeing next week?
Next week, we'll be seeing The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh, yeah. Ryan. I bet you $10 that Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are going to fight some kind of demon in it.
Hopefully.
Oh, my God, I hope so.
So, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Drafthouse in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.